Hi, welcome to the sales training program that hopefully helps you in becoming a champion sales professional. I am Satya, and before we start the session, let me ensure that you have a sheet of paper and a pen to get cracking. You know, a champion sales professional is not just a very good problem solver, but he or she also is very creative, very out of the box. We start this session by doing an interesting mind bender. I'm going to give you a challenge, a puzzle called the 9 dots. You have 2 minutes to solve this puzzle. Take a look at these 9 dots on your screen. What you need to do is to connect all these 9 dots using 4 straight lines. Remember, 4 and only straight lines, no curved lines are allowed. And number 2, you cannot lift your pen off the sheet of paper. You have 2 minutes and your time starts now. Now that you've given a shot at this problem, let's look at the solution. Does it surprise you? Or is it exactly what you did to solve the puzzle? If you've not been able to do it, I think it is still fine. You know, statistically speaking, only 3 out of 100 people are able to solve this puzzle. The more important thing is to be able to understand and reflect what were the challenges in attempting to solve this 9 dot puzzle and how did I solve it, or where did I get stuck. So I would request you to spend a minute and write down on your sheet of paper what challenges did you face in those 2 minutes while solving the puzzle. Now that you've been able to list the reasons for your failure, the why I could not do it or why I could do it, let's just spend a couple of minutes on 3 most important reasons for a failure in this exercise. And out of 100 people that you pick up in any class, any crowd, any professional group, you'll find that almost 90% of them encounter either 1 or 2 or all of these 3 failure points. And as a sales professional, you'll find that when you encounter a challenge, you're stuck by one of these reasons that made you get stuck today. The first one, look at the solution and look at the solution that you were thinking that is most likely. In your mind, because of the way the dots are placed, did you think that the solution is going to be more like a square, a box, and not a triangle? If the answer is yes, we are talking about our mindsets. You know, many a time as a professional, whether in sales or business or wherever, we approach a problem with a prior mindset. You and I think that the solution is likely to be more like this and answer might be elsewhere. Let me take an example. If a father and a daughter come into a store to buy a Microsoft product or any product for that matter, you and I might end up thinking that the decision maker perhaps is the father. Maybe the buyer is the father. Maybe the person who's paying the money could be the eldest person in the group that is walking in. But especially for a technology product, maybe the teenage daughter or the son could be the decision maker. And you might end up misfiring if you have very strong mindsets while getting into a problem solving mode. The second one, did you feel a little pressure of time that there are only 2 minutes and the clock kept ticking? This is a very real aspect of any sales professional's life. You and I need to achieve our goals under very tight time constraints. If that did play a role, that did put pressure on you, it is important to be aware of this. Lastly, if I were to tell you that amongst your peer group of, let's say, 50 or 100 people, the person who cracks this problem first will get a promotion or a holiday trip, would that have put pressure of competition on you? Pressure from the peers? Normally the answer is a yes. So, to conclude this, I would like to kind of bring all these three together and ask you to think about it as we move into the actual training program. Please keep these three things at the back of your mind while we get into the next session and talk about what we call as personal victory followed by public victory. And these two, when we understand it, will go a long way in making me a superior, a more effective sales professional. When you look at a champion salesperson, would it be right to say that confidence is his biggest attribute that is visible? He looks at every problem with confidence. He solves customer issues with confidence. He even negotiates from a location of confidence. If that is the case, maybe you and I must worry about how does confidence come into being? Does it happen on its own, or is it an outcome of something else? Chances are that confidence comes from 2 or 3 different places. 1, confidence comes from knowledge. Knowledge about self, knowledge about the place where I work, knowledge about my products, knowledge about competition, knowledge about my country. So there is a whole lot of confidence that is contributed by knowledge. 2, confidence also comes from my ability to communicate. Am I a good speaker? Do I know the language of the customer? Am I a good listener? Can I write well? You know, these little things about communication ends up adding a lot to confidence. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, experience is a very important contributor to confidence. Please remember, experience could be in the form of a success or even a failure. When I go through a success or failure, there is a chance to grow in confidence, there is also a chance to learn and hence come back to greater confidence. So when we move in to become a champion salesperson, we need to worry about two things. One, as I've mentioned earlier, which is to improve my own confidence, which is called personal victory. So now we move into the first part of this session called how do I ensure personal victory for myself. In other words, we will start with the session called the LOCO inventory.